Dream Warriors, 31 Days of Dread, Day 28. The Hills Have Eyes. Not the 2006 update. We're doing the 1976. Long time ago. Right? I'm sure a lot of you people out there, you don't even know that 1976 was even the year. But we're doing it. So let's hit that music and let's talk. Yeah, geez. The funny thing is though, I record my intros like just endlessly now, just a few times. Oh my god, it takes me about 10, 15 minutes to get one good intro. So every time you hear an intro now, just remember the hard work and the perseverance that goes into it. Sometimes I say things that are factually wrong within intros, and I just keep limiting them, uh, just shrinking it. But yeah, no, and intros are something I'm always experimenting with. It's just something not a lot of podcasts did intros, or they do intros, or they tag the shows well. I like people to know where they are, what we're doing, what some of the discussions are, and the 31 Days of Dread unraveled this for me, exposed it, made it become more of a important practice because the earlier days of Dream Warriors, it's just, again, Norm and I just sitting down, hoping to have something. Like we were hoping to discover a topic, discover a conversation. And it was a lot of back and forth, a lot of time wasted, just even through text messages, to get to hone in on something. And then once we did hone in on something, there was little time for preparation. I would normally run around like a maniac, compiling notes, memorizing facts, figuring out, like as the show marched on too, figuring out what the flow of the conversation was going to be. And yeah, it just became tough. So the 31 Days of Dread is just focusing the importance of, and the ability, I think, even for me to just sit down and go through a movie with you guys, and add a little bit of insight to it. And that's always the big draw for Dream Warriors. It's the magic layer of me, Heather, John, Mark, and we're going to have some new people coming up too. I'm working on a Stranger Things, like really big thing for Stranger Things, and I'm very excited about that. So we're breaking for format within the show. We're doing things with Mark now. Mark is off of the 31 Days of Dread. I took him off of it because he's doing Thor focused work, and he's doing some Star Wars focused work, which I'm super excited about. And we'll be doing that coming. So yeah, we're in November now, but we're still doing the 31 Days of Dread. I'm completing it. I'm marching on. There are setbacks in life, and even now, as I'm talking to you, there's just an avalanche, just like a crest, a wave smashing onto my personal shore. I'm doing a metaphor here, maybe not that successfully, but it's just a wave that's crashing. That it's all personal, flipping Peter's world, my world, talking in the third person, upside down. It's bleeding, stressful stuff, and it's like stuff will always happen. I was discussing bad eats with Brian and I give him so much credit. Brian might be the perfect collaborator for me and my lifestyle and the things I have around me, like just scheduling wise and obstacle wise. But Brian is probably the best, and I love him so much for it. But yeah, uh, sorry, I just got a text message. Can I read the last two text messages for you? It's a random compliment. You looked nice last night, and that was to someone, one of my friends on Snapchat. She was at this bridal party, bridal shower, nighttime bridal shower, which is the bomb. That's so awesome. And she goes, with champagne and drugs for everyone. It was great. And I just wrote back, drugs, really? Why wasn't I called? And she goes, haha, it was a bridal shower, so it was just all girls, all for the girls. That's a heck of a night. I was stuck at Fox and Hound over here in Philly watching UFC 117 GSP, which was a amazing pay per view, WrestleMania level, like awesomeness, satisfaction, upset. Like I think all three belt transfers were all upsets in my eyes. Very happy to see T.J. Dillashaw win, and it looks like that they're poising him to go up against Mighty Mouse. Can't wait. But yeah, so I'm talking Greek. I'm talking all kinds of things to you people, and we gotta sit down. We are all sitting down. We gotta do The Hills Have Eyes, 1976. Let's just jump right into it. Any tangent that led up to this is gone. You guys are gonna have to live without it or tweet, text. You can actually text me if you go to my website. My Google Voice phone number is listed on my website. You guys can text me. But no. Instagram, AKAPAD 13, Snapchat, AKAPAD on the Twitter. It goes on and on. And we're like 8 minutes into this. Oh my God, this is going to be a longer one. But yeah, 1976, The Hills Have Eyes. This is another one, bucket list movie. Nice little thread we have going down the stretch of the 31 Days of Dread. And believe I will set up the next episode right now because The Hills Have Eyes Part 2 came on as a suggestion through Amazon Prime. And it was like perfect timing. It hit me. So I put that on. And that movie, I even know that The Hills Have Eyes, the 76, had a sequel. I knew that the remake had a sequel, which is funny, the 2006 and 2007 updates. But I know about the original. And so I just put it on. I'm like, you know what? It's like I've done sequels. So like just jumping into sequels is a 31 Days of Dread thread here, theme. So I jumped, and it had such an awesome opening narration that immediately gets put on my top 10 list of best movie opening narrations. Number one always being the Ralph Bakshi Lord of the Rings animated. I believe that was 81. Was that 81? Oh my God. I forget what year that came out. But yeah. So I just said, no. I got to watch the original. And the original, again, bucket list. That may have been rented once from the VHS days. Like a Blockbuster rental that I never watched. And not as much as I rented The Dark Half and Dead Zone. But yeah, so I immediately just buy it on Amazon Prime. Not buy it. Actually, I subscribe to Shudder, the channel within Prime, and which has, oh my God, there's they have Rabbit, David Cronenberg's Rabbit in that in Shudder. So and they got the Universal monster movies. Universal monster movies. Never seen them. Also bucket list. And trust me, one of them will be done by the end of the 31 Days of Dread. So I subscribed. It's $5 a month. Who cares? Paying it, and jumped right into The Hills Have Eyes, and got through it. And while I'm watching this movie, it's I just started researching a little bit of Wes Craven, getting familiar with him again, because he's one of the guys. I don't think he's as good as Carpenter. To me, it was always like Wes Craven, John Carpenter. Carpenter is a legit filmmaker that imposes vision, imagination, whimsical type like atmosphere to his plots and his protagonists. Wes Craven to me is always just a workhorse that is able to make movies, and he made some movies that did some things like bleeding off into franchises, and it even goes back for him. Wes Craven, 1972, The Last House on the Left, which got a sequel and it got a 2009 remake. And so that's that sort of work is like legacy building work, meaning that you make something that has an impression. Sometimes it's idea. Some of these movies that had low competition, so what came out around them for the type of movie it was and the availability that the movie had with the original audience, the 1972 audience, it's low competition. And even though these movies might be poorly shot, acted, executed, the concept and the moments, there are still moments within the movie. It's enough to carry the movie on. So yeah, The Last House on the Left. Thank you, Wes Craven, because it's a horror movie convention right there. It's still being not ripped off, paid homage to, expanded on today. And then we have The Hills Have Eyes, 1977. Maybe was I saying 76? Oh, geez, I don't know what I'm doing. Can we figure this out? Can I ever get my dates right? Hills Have Eyes is 1977. I might have been saying 76. I suck. So I stand corrected. Hills Have Eyes, 1977. Then Part 2 comes out. Part 2 is actually a couple years down the road. Part 2 is 1985. So the Hills Have Eyes was able to resonate to the point to where 8 years later it got a follow-up. So we'll talk about that next episode. Next episode is The Hills Have Eyes, Part 2, 1985. And then we have some magic. We have the remake of 2006 and 2007. And again, I'm not going to go into those at all. I watched a chunk of the 2006 remake as a familiar, just refamiliarize myself with it, because I remember just really liking that movie. And I'll tell you, when it comes to remake, it's one of the absolute best, because it's almost like it's not a shot per shot remake, but it's a scene per scene remake, and that's very important because they update. It's just an update, like better cinematography, better cameras, sound. There's actual sound editing in the 2006. Better special effects. The conception's there. The setup is there. The setup is much better than the 1977. But yeah, and then they did the remake Part 2, which was 2007. I'm very curious about that. So part of experiencing this movie for the first time opened up my it's like this love like kind of came over me, which is the coolness of Part 1 and Part 2, and then the absolute cool factor of 2006 and 2007. I mean, it's a 4 movie block that is, I don't think anything comes close to it, which is great. But yeah, so 1977, Wes Craven makes a movie called The Hills Have Eyes. It resonates, it carries on. And then in 1984, we have one of the biggest franchises to come out of celluloid ever, which is Nightmare on Elm Street. We all know about this. Nightmare had its run of movies, might have been 8 or 9 movies. Norm would be able to correct me on that. I should have that in my notes, but hey, I suck. Then we had Freddy New Nightmare, and that was the side idea. We got some kids coming in through the hall. We're gonna let them pass. Oh, they're already in. Let me have a drink of my water. But yeah. And then the New Nightmare is not a sequel, not a reboot. It's this. It's an expanding of the idea of Freddy Krueger. It's an extension of it. It's a very hard movie to classify to how it relates to the other Nightmare on Elm Street. And then we have a remake, and then even Freddy TV series. Everything's happening right now. This is the problem of recording midday. And then we have Scream in 1996, trilogy. The fourth was an update. The fourth Scream, very similar to New Nightmare. Kind of like an update, an expansion. But that even too got its own TV series. So Wes Craven has given the lures of imagination Four amazing movies that still today will always carry on. The Last House on the Left and The Hills Have Eyes will always be updated just on title alone. They're two of the greatest titled movies ever, especially The Last House on the Left. It just, like, actually, that and Hills Have Eyes just scream creepiness. It just screams horror. I love it. Nightmare on Elm Street, obviously, and Scream. Like, it's, I don't know. Like, and look, Wes Craven did not have a perfect film career at all. But he's productive every year. God rest his soul too. He's no longer with us. But like little underrated movie that he directed with Eddie Murphy, Vampire in Brooklyn, completely underrated. I dislike it when people talk about movies like that and they leave out Vampire in Brooklyn as one of the all time horror comedies. He, like towards the end, like not towards the end, but maybe towards the end of his absolute relevancy. He gave us Red Eye and he gave us what was the Cursed with Christina Ricci. And both of those movies are what they are. I think they both have amazing like concepts and attitudes around the movie. They just didn't carry over. And when speaking of Wes Craven, and we're talking about just the ability to sit down and make a movie and plan it out and get a crew and talk to your actors and get everyone on board. 1999 Music of the Heart, which was I should maybe look this up and talk a couple notes, but I just remember that movie being like an Oscar run, like a potential Oscar grab nomination, award driven movie for Wes Craven. But it's cool to see that he can even veer off into material like that. I really feel like if you're an actor and you can do comedy, you can do anything. I think everything else is easy when it comes from comedy. I also believe that comedy is very addicting to the artist, and that's why they rarely comedians try and venture off into drama. Even though I think most, I really do feel like if people weren't high horse and highfalutin idiots, that Adam Sandler could win an Oscar if they allowed it to happen. Meaning that we're going to look at your work honestly. Jim Carrey should have won an Oscar for Man on the Moon. Should have won even for Truman Show. I don't care. But yeah, so it's like a little bit of a breakdown. So it's like comedies like that. I think when it comes to horror directors, if you can do horror, you can do anything. Period. I think anyone that can make a good horror movie, it's easy to jump into other fields. But there's something about horror that just keeps the talent there. Because I think it's challenging. Like horror is a lot like comedy. They're polar opposites, but horror has a intent from the very start. It's not selling an idea or a emotion. It's the intent to stick with you and to make you uncomfortable, and it's kind of like the highest form of filmmaking at all. Like it's the highest form you can jump in on. To further this, I'll just say that there's a reason why movies like The Hills Have Eyes exist, because you can make them with low budget. Like C2, the Bunnyman massacres, even Beyond the Gates, The Void. I really wanted the Void's not going to happen for 31 Days of Dread, but I kept pushing Void down my list. 13 Demons also. It's that horror resonates from the intent of the filmmaker because the medium allows it, the genre allows it. There's a reason why we don't have low budget comedies that resonate. There's a reason why we never have low budget dramas that resonate. And you can go through the entire list. Low budget science fiction, very very tough, very tough. Try and find people to talk to you about like Mainborg. They'll talk about maybe like Dark Star, which is what the John Carpenter movie. But it's tough. It's tough to even get low budget sci-fi, but low budget horror, with even at times bad acting, weak execution, but big concept and moments. It's there. It sticks to you. And I think if you're one of these guys that you make one of those movies that sticks, you get addicted again, like the same as comedians do with comedy, and it's like rinse and repeat, and you just want more and more of it. You want to see if you can do it. It's like you kind of get off on it. But yeah, the plot for this movie, hey, we're going to talk about a plot you've heard in other movies. Okay, family on their. Hey, look, did you guys know Wes Craven has a website? Let's go to it right now. Whoa, cool. Wow. Excuse me. He has a somewhat impressive website. Unbelievable. But yeah, okay. Family is on a road trip. They take a wrong turn, or are told to take a wrong turn, and it is in a pit, a viper's pit of inbred nuclear cannibals, nuclear tested cannibals, and which is a little bit more prominent in the 2006. And we're also told that like this is, I think the original, the 77 Hills Have Eyes, the one we're discussing, is loosely based on a true story, or like true accounts of this backwoods family that did actually go on, like murder sprees and would eat people, which is great. And let me see, can I get the name of this family? Oh man, yeah, we're not going to the Swanee Bean story. The Swanee Bean story. Okay, and Swanee Bean was said to be the head of a 48-member clan in Scotland, anywhere between the 13th and 16th century, reportedly executed for the mass murder of cannibalism of over 1,000 people. What a great concept to put into a American horror, like American setting. So that's what this family runs into. Now, where this movie resonates for me is a little bit of the expectation. Is you immediately see that this movie starts. It starts hard. It starts with this old man. That this guy works at this little gas station they're stopping at, and he's not selling the scene, not on any account, and it immediately becomes a tough movie to watch. But there's performances within this movie. So again, it's Wes Craven's chops are coming through immediately, and a scene per scene, performance to performance. The horror, there's no real gore. The suggested horror, I think, is like the cutaway. You don't see a lot of it. I think it's very useful, and again, too, it's in line with a budget like this. And yeah, I mean, they steal a baby. They kind of, there's a woman in the bed scene. They burn the man. They burn the father. They shoot the mother. Potential, like somewhat like suggestive rape scene. They really perfected that scene in 2006. And so like the big drawback is the actual look of the cannibals, and when you find their lair and things like that. Yeah, it's tough. Ill conceived, ill executed, I'm sure, based on budget and time. We have two dogs in this movie, which are rock stars. One of the dogs actually comes back in part 2. I love it. Beast or Beauty. I forget which one. It's Beast or Beauty. But the two dogs are Beast and Beauty. Also, they're back in the 2006. They're like German Shepherd canines. They're like amazing animals. So, part of the family gets knocked off real quick, and then it becomes different family members are at different parts of the desert, and they confront the members of this clan, one by one, family members winning over, but some family members dying along the way. And like that's it. That's our movie. This movie cut off at the perfect time, had a perfect ending, perfect stop point. Again, like just setting the stage for like the generation of slasher and films like low budget horror that came like from movies like this. Kind of like, again, like everyone will point to Halloween as like point zero, but we know Halloween's not the first slasher movie, but it's so good, it's so perfect, and mine as well be the first slasher movie. But yeah, and like you watch this movie and okay, anyone could rip it apart, but I don't know what use that does. I think sitting down and appreciating this type of movie and what it brought, and that it created conventions within horror. Again, thank you, Wes Craven. Same as Friday the 13th did. It's just something that should be honored, memorialized, and shown. Like, I wish more people would have seen this movie by now, or even remember. I wish there would be more commentary on this, because I dug around and it's very little. It's very little insight into what was actually happening in this movie. But yeah, and it's kind of funny because I'm constantly digging around for more information about some of these movies, and it's kind of pushing me more towards collecting DVDs just for trying to get nuggets of like just expanding, from some of these movies. And I just refuse to do it. And I have a list of forums, message boards, and Facebook groups that I will start attending and participating in to be a part of those communities and to grow. Like to grow and to really learn more and to know more about what goes into some of the, I guess, like the trivia points of movies like this. But yeah, look, didn't talk too much about the movie this time, but that's because you just have to go see it and understand it's a 1977 low budget flick. Okay, and you're going to get some magic. You're going to get some great concept. You're going to get some good scenes. I think it's great watching this movie than watching the 2006 and seeing what remakes are all about. Seeing like what the perfect transition of A and B are. And look, the Psycho update remake too. That's a great movie. People knock that movie, but this is very similar to the Gus Van Sant Psycho with Vince Vaughn that people just rip apart because it's popular too. But yeah, go check this movie out. Enjoy it. Watch part 2 and watch it now because we're going to talk about it. we're going right into part 2 right after this. For day 29. Oh my God, we're almost done here. I can't believe it. But yeah, I really wanted to do Thanksgiving, like something with that. I might just do a run of Thanksgiving movies. Oh yeah, and I've already picked out the last movie for 31 Days of Dread. It is not Halloween 2. I referenced that. I brought that up before, but definitely analyzing and discussing Halloween 2, which I think is the deepest and I don't know. It's the one Halloween I just love rewatching. So I am really on the outskirts for that opinion. Definitely like a whole separate analysis for Halloween 2 alone. But yeah, this is Pete signing off. Everyone just enjoy yourselves. Have a good day and find movies like this and let me know about them because I want to know. If you know any good trivia and points about this movie, like any bullet points about this movie, anything you have to add to it, just at, like filmmaking process wise and what things were like, let me know. And if you can steer me towards anything, do it because I'm a little bit fascinated by this attempt. But yeah, have a good day, everyone. Signing off. Let's hit that exit music.